Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe. And ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And those good people at Big Finish have put out another set of Doctor Who gramophone record adventures for us to sit around and enjoy together. Well, Mother while doing the knitting, maybe. This one is starring Christopher Eccleston. Christopher Eccleston returns to the role of Doctor Who. Once again, this is the Ninth Doctor Adventures Volume 2. Do they call it Volume 2? Or do they just call it... I'm just looking at it right now. They don't call it Volume 2. They call it Respond to All Calls, which I actually think is quite a good idea. Unless... in the they might call it in their designation volume 2 because it's completely unconnected from the first one. Not quite as good as the first. I'll say actually quite a bit weaker than the first one. Still lovely to hear Eccleston again once in a row. But I think let's wait till the review before we get into the actual review. Hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. All those things are fan-dabby double dose. If you're subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed. And if you're not subscribed, if you can consider doing that, that'd be really lovely. I'm very grateful. I don't think there's really much more to say than that. If you want to be on comment, let me know what you think. If you heard these already and disagree with me, let me know your opinion. For one reason, because I want to know your opinion, and the second reason, it helps the algorithm. So it's not entirely altruistic, okay? But please like, share, subscribe. If you subscribe, make sure you're still subscribed and comment. And if you want to be super nice, go check out my Indiegogo. Indiegogo still online, still freaking online. I thought it'd be being on the presses right now. No, I've had the printers gave me a job to do, and boy, is that taking a long freaking time. I should be working on it now. Actually, I've done with the bulk of it for the first time. Wait. What is my Indiegogo? 2 freaking awesome comic books. Okay, 2 freaking awesome comic books. We got this one, Biblical Bible Source, Aether Creators, Rashes Rose, kind of like Sandman, Swamp Thing, Hellblaze. Those early Vertigo books, if you know what I'm talking about. I wrote and drew this as 220 pages long. Freaking awesome, if I say so myself. Very biblically accurate, but not preachy. So this is the one that's like, oh my god, has sucked up my entire, I think 2 weeks. I spent 2 weeks preparing that. I thought the print file was ready to go, right? Totally. I spent 2 weeks tweaking it and getting it better. Hopefully the next one will be easier. But my point is this: it's going offline soon. I just don't know when. Okay, and if you backed it, thank you. And I desperately want you to get these books. Okay, I want these done. So I'm putting an insane amount of time into it right now. So I got this one, 220 pages long, freaking awesome. We got this one, not biblical, The Imperium, a love letter to telefans in the 1960s. Basically imagine James Bond, Emma Pill, Doctor Who, the Black Slab from 2001, and a monkey in a spacesuit. A bit of The Prisoner. These aren't the real things, obviously. These are parodies, or however you want to legally class them. A bit of Prisoner, a bit of Thunderbirds. It's all there, baby. It's all there. This is 105 pages long, and you got this really cool backup script called The Ice Warriors I did with Italian artist Stefano Cardoselli. These are there you can see one. These are one-page strips I did a few years ago now. But they're fun. They get kind of in the same vein as the Daleks ones or the Cybermen ones from the 90s. But yeah, that's all in there as well. You get both books, you get a ton of extras, you get this awesome poster, this A2 poster. Noble Savages, the lovely Leela, and of course, I keep thinking Sheena Easton. No, it's not Sheena Easton at all, it's Raquel Welch. I don't know how I'm getting Sheena Easton and Raquel Welch mixed up in my head. But I am, okay? And the Time Machine, H.G. Wells' Time Machine, and Bet K9, why not, baby? Why not? And then you get the For the Male Gaze cards. Anyway, so yeah, if you want these extras, you can just get them on this campaign, I think. And then we're doing another For the Male Gaze cards on the following campaign. Fine, let's move on. Oh yeah, and also everyone's getting another poster as well. I think I let people choose between the Tom Baker, the Capaldi, and the poetry one. Right? I think I'll throw them in. Why not? It's done very well, and I as I said, I am very grateful. Fine, let's talk about a bit of Big Finish, right? Big Finish. Doctor Who, the Ninth Doctor Adventures, Respond to All Calls. So I like the first one a lot better, although I don't think it completely reflected what Doctor Who was like in his era on TV that much, because it's very wrapped up with the Tylers and Mickey and what's her name? Vicky and Jackie. Oh man, that was hard. So I think that juxtaposition of having like this kind of like brusque, very anti-doctor doctor. I think Eccleston's Doctor is a reaction against traditional doctors being essentially. This is Shameless meets Doctor Who. He's a very, very working class doctor, being very, very proudly working class, going very much against the sort of poshness of Doctor Who, which is something they intended to do at the time. And on theory, it was great, and Eccleston was great. I think people were kind of just a bit just happier when David Tennant arrived in a more traditional frock coat, right? And then they floated back to the posh. But yeah, we all think Eccleston really just didn't have enough time. We would have liked to have seen him much more. So that first box set was, other than missing the Tylers and had that family juxtaposition, which I think was very, very important, also was a bit too science fiction-y. I mean, it's written by Nick Briggs. It was a larger story over 3 episodes, which really helped it and really, really, really worked. And I think it gave it a much more dramatic feel. But other than that, it felt authentic. It just felt like a different take on the Ninth Doctor, which is, I guess, what we wanted. So this one is different again. It's 3 individual stories, not connected, which was always my somewhat bugbear with the David Tennant stories that they did. They're always like these kind of like throwaway stories, like this. Inconsequential. That's why I like that first box set. So we're back to like these somewhat inconsequential throwaway stories. And for this one, he's without a companion, and you really feel it, right? It really. I didn't realize how important a companion was. And that first box set, he had a companion, and it helped. And the lack of a companion made it feel less like Doctor Who to me, in the same way that Deadly Assassin felt a little bit different, right? It didn't make it necessarily bad, but they're having the whole set without a companion. Just, I don't know, was another step away from what I think of Doctor Who. That being said, 3 solid stories. Excellent is always excellent, and it's just great to hear more of him. I said that before. It's great to hear more, even in these somewhat like standalone, inconsequential stories to a certain extent. So let's look at the actual stories themselves. First one, Go Deconstructed by Lisa McMullen. Now, again, this is terrible that I'm in this position now. I'm always nervous when I see a female writer working at Big Finish. Why? Because they've hired a lot of people because they have vaginas rather than they have an aptitude to writing Doctor Who, or at least they weren't edited strongly enough, or what? They weren't directed. I don't know what it is. We've had quite a lot of dross over the last couple of years, in fact, from them really wanting to have a more diverse writing cast. Who was it that said you can either have equality of outcome or equality of opportunity. I believe we have equality of opportunity, but they want to change it to equality of outcome, meaning we no longer have equality of opportunity. And essentially, what happens is when you predominantly recruit from a small section of your base, you have to recruit for that small section, the quality then tumbles, right? So thankfully, that's not the case here. This is a pretty good, solid story. It's somewhat feminine as well, which I liked as well. I do like having feminine written drama, sci-fi drama. That's why I kind of like the Bernie Summerfield range. This doesn't feel out of place. This doesn't feel like it's feminized, right? But it does feel like it's got a feminine outlook. And honestly, for me, it's fine. I really think it's fine. I don't feel like it was woke. I don't feel like it was preaching to me. I just feel they wanted to deliver a decent story. So what's the story? Let me read the blurb. Marnie is missing, but she hasn't run away as her dad fears. Marnie is very much at home, but not quite as she was. The Doctor joins forces with a missing persons detective, Jana Lee, to help solve the mystery of a girl who's gone to pieces. So firstly, there's this weird pawn shop they have now of having their female characters when they're a bit what's the word? When they're a bit authoritative to be Scottish. I've done that a lot of times. I don't know why, but okay, fine. So fine. So what the basic idea is, you start off. The Doctor is watching a migration of the Seraphim. Now I can't remember if the Seraphim were the same aliens from Fear Her. Was that the Solaris? But they seem very, very, very similar, right? And he's watching it, and suddenly he picks up he picks up on somebody who shouldn't be there. So this was in a kind of a pre-title sequence, and you don't really know what's going on. So when we get into the story, this one, like all of them, are a bit more, again, because they're individual stories. He's without a companion. They all feel a bit more sapphire and steely. Like he's just turning up at points where there are realities breaking down or something. And trying to fix it. That being said, it's a really lovely story. It's a really, really lovely story about appreciating what you have, and I do like, especially appreciating the relationships you have. I don't want to spoil it though, because it is pretty good. So the this woman, this girl, Marnie, 16-year-old girl, is missing. She had a row with her dad. By the way, a good father figure, right? Which is something you don't get a lot with woke drama. So I think that's a good sign that this wasn't like preachy or woke. And her dad's very, very, very worried. So a sci-fi thing has happened to her. She's still there, but she's like she doesn't have a body, and I haven't spoiled it. That you find that out, I think, in the pre-title sequence. And they're trying to unravel the mystery. Also unraveling the mystery is a missing persons detective, Jana Lee, who grew up in the area and has a strange connection to to how this child is missing, which plays out very nicely, right? I think this is probably the weakest story on the set. No, I think the second story is the weakest on the set. I would give this story 6.5, 7 maybe. At another point in, if you want to hear more Eccleston. You see, honestly, I think I would have preferred it to be, if we had like a 12 episode run, and we have some standalone stories and some arc stories, right? And I think that would have made it work a bit better. But I guess they want these box sets to be standalone, because they really want you to buy them. They really want you to sell them, because I think they put quite a bit of money into this. Fright Motif by Tim Foley. Fright Motif has the guy on the cover who they put on the cover because he's black. That's what that was the major consideration. They put him on the cover because he's black. I honestly, I think far more central characters to this was the girl that was missing in the first one, although she was a kind of, she was missing. And there's a female AI in the third story. I think the best of the bunch, who seemed like he should be like. They put him on because he's black, because they feel that racism is a terrible thing, which I think we all agree. And so by putting black people on covers, that will stop racism. And I think that's genuinely how it just feels like tokenism to me, right? It feels like tokenism. I don't really like tokenism. Tokenism to me feels like racism. It's not good. So that aside, the 2021 racism aside, let's have a look at it. Fright Motif by Tim Foley. In post-war Paris, an interesting setting, by the way, which they use very well. Musician Artie Berger has lost his mojo, but gained a predator, something that seeps through the cracks of dissonance to devour the unwary. Fine. Lucky for Artie, the doctor is here. Unlucky for everyone, he needs bait to trap a monster. So this is more interesting, really, in the post-war Paris setting, where everyone's like very damaged, very much experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder. And they just gone through hell, right? They just gone through hell, being under naughty German National Socialist occupation for many years. The idea of a monster that is primarily audio is a good one. And I like how it interacts with the main character Artie. Jenna Whelan's in this, Yara from Game of Thrones, and also the meddling, not monk, meddling nun. Now they go, and she's way better in this than she is in the as a meddling nun. It's again decent story. I like the use of like firstly, jazz is an interesting component to the story, and the birth of jazz in post-war Paris. And what I like about this one is how the characters were all layered, right? People were not two-dimensional, but you strip away the layers of the characters as you go through the piece, and I think you end up with a very fulfilling whole. So that's by Tim Foley. The third story, Planet at the End by Timothy X Attack. The best story on it, but still not great, right? Still not great. I think I give Fright Motif a 7 out of 10. Right, yeah, so I think Fright Motif is better than Go Deconstruction, but Go Deconstruction, not a bad episode in of itself. Planet at the End, the Doctor arrives on a mausoleum world for sightseeing and light pedantry, correcting the planetary records. The resident AI has other ideas. Deep within the tomb, something stirs. Ocasus, the last resting place of the species, far too dangerous to exist, and the Doctor... and the Doctor is its way back. So they introduce here an ancient evil that's at the same level as the Time Lords, and I think that's where this story stumbles. I think they could have really connected to the past of Doctor Who by having, I don't know, it could have been the Celestial Intervention Agency, could have been Eternals, could have been a lot of different things. I guess it was, I think Celestial Intervention Agency were. It basically the Doctor, it turns up on this graveyard world, which is fascinating in of itself, and ostensibly because he thinks that the records that they have there are a bit off. So he's planning on spending like 100 years fixing them and telling people telling the records who everybody really was, who these different races actually were. And he gets trapped there. His TARDIS gets taken away, as does his sonic screwdriver. He turns up there because there is a distress call, which may not be all that it seems. So this ancient evil basically wants to use the Doctor's Artron energy to rebirth themselves, right? And that's a mild spoiler. That's all, but it doesn't really matter. You know, right from the beginning, they're bad guys out to get and use the Doctor. But what really makes this great is the Doctor meets this AI as he arrives. And because it takes place over an extended period of time, the AI grows into a person, gains sentience, gains self-awareness, and it's really, and I found that really, really touching and good. At the end, you are hoping that that she's gonna get in the TARDIS with them and be the companion. Will she? Won't she? You'll have to wait and see. You have to buy it and find out, I guess. The villains here are excellent as well. The villains are very business-like, like an evil corporation. And it's funny, really, because on the extras, I'm listening to who was it, Helen Rayner. This is a very female centric box set in terms of creation behind the camera, behind the microphone, I should say. It was who's the director? Helen Goldwyn was the director, and who else is in this? I can't remember. There was somebody else in it as well. But Helen Goldwyn was a major force, and she's fine. She knows what she's doing. She's a sturdy professional, right? But this, so this is, I think, like a more feminine set in general. But yeah, the villains were excellent. They're very, as I said, they're very evil corporate capitalist aliens. But then at the end, I said, I think it was Helen Goldwyn saying, how much she hates capitalism, darling. The only reason you hate capitalism is because you don't have as much money as you want. socialism isn't going to make your life any better, right? And I know everybody looks to get money or get whatever they want with via doing less, right? But it's not what you want, and capitalism is why you're able to do what you do, right? She talks about how important music is, how important singing. The only reason you're able to do that is because of capitalism, right? And hate to be the one to tell, and that's not me saying capitalism is the greatest thing ever. It's not. There's inherent problems with it, right? It's not great at all. But still, just this infantile, the constant railing against anything, anything and everything. But if it was a male patriarch, we could just use a rest, right? It could just all use a rest. So this one I give a good 7.5 out of 10. Planet at the End. Maybe even, no, I think 7.5. It's not a classic. I'm not going to go up to 8. So 7.5, 7, and 6.5. So I think I'm going to give this box set a 7 out of 10. I think that's fair. Is it worth your time? Is it worth your money? It's a bit expensive. I mean, look, if you're desperate for more Eccleston, it will scratch that itch. 100% it will scratch that itch. It's not woke. It's not preachy. It's not as good as the first one. Well, I pre-ordered all 4 boxes anyway. I've already paid for them. Okay, it's already happened. I guess but I'm not regretting that, right? I'm not regretting that, which I have done before. So that's why I don't pre-order as much as I used to. But anyway, listen, look, it's worth a punt. But you know what? I would really wish that there was a way of moving Eccleston's Doctor forward somehow. I remember thinking that as I was listening to this. Like, would it, like, what would be great? Like, if you have a box set where it starts off with Donna and the Tenant Doctor, and something happens and he's false regenerated, or he's like regressed to the 9th Doctor for that box set. That sort of thing. I just think that would work better. What he really needs is a companion. I said at the beginning, I'm saying the problem with this box set is the lack of the companion, which I find a really, really important, much more important than I originally thought, a really important aspect to Doctor Who. But anyway, 7 out of 10, not bad. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi for Another Planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.